welcome everybody to another new installment of
Showtime.
Stupid. Showtime! Being stupid. This is a special edition relationship episode where I talked to Bert Hubbard, who is my guest today, to talk about relationships.
Good evening, good morning, good night, depending on when you're watching this and what it is. It's an honor to be here and share the space with you, my man.
Bert does as usual. He does things and stuff. Always hold up the pinky. This is not what you think it is. It's actually just water.
Wait, hold on a second.
Oh, the doggy! Hello, doggy!
That's the co-host.
That's
King Louie.
King Louie
decides to act up as soon as I start to do something. That's when he acts up. So he's being a bad boy right now.
Being a bad
completely and utterly spoiled in love, all that good stuff.
Sweet baby. The best babies are the sweetest babies. All right, we're going to talk about babies today as well,
or at least how they're made.
All right. I put in a different sound, some different music today because this is an addition. This is not the regular episode. This is the. It's late at night, and I had some drinks episode, which Jason is not part of.
There you go.
Is my other my wonderful co-host on Opinions Are Stupid, and Bert's the guest co-host. So Bert, you've been wanting to do this relationship thing for a while now, and I'm very excited about this to talk about relationships with you in general, and just to shoot the shit. Bert and I have known each other for 30 years.
Probably more than that, but yeah, I'll cop the 30.
25 years.
Yeah. 40 years. We've passed over into. We're getting older, dude.
The fuck Z.
Listen.
Easy. Both went to Brooklyn Tech, as you know. Technical high school where technical stuff happens there. Peace out to Brooklyn Tech. Check this out.
Love it, always.
It's called a casa. Check this shit out. I frighten people in my house. I don't have any dogs or anything, so it's a shame.
Getting along without a dog is difficult.
It is. A little dog. Like a little dog.
Having this puppy now is great. It's been so many years since I had a puppy.
A French bulldog, or maybe a Boston Terrier. I was in the city this weekend. I was moving around the city, looking for snacks and treats. I went to Doe, the donut place on 19th Street. If you haven't gone to Doe, go to Doe and get yourself the hibiscus donut. It's pretty fucking amazing. But while there, I met a little doggy. He was from Puerto Rico.
It's for the West End.
Goddamn dog dedication. What?
It's sorrow. A goddamn dog dedication.
A goddamn dead dog dedication.
Death dedication. Casey Kasem.
Don't know what it is. Look it up. So, yeah. What were you saying?
That for the West Indian folks, hibiscus is sorrow. So it was sorrow.
Yeah, whatever, man. I ain't from Jamaica. So listen, hibiscus. Anyway, Bert knows a lot of people from the Caribbean islands.
They absorb me into the community.
So sorrel, they talk about sorrel as the thing that they drink. Usually there's a sorrel liquor out there, which isn't bad. If you like elderberry liquor, like this stuff,
you're good to go.
There you go. You can get a sorrel version of not of this, but of a liquor, and then you could put that like a god damn this motorcycles like a I think I might have some. This is those passion fruit flavored.
Oh, that's really nice.
I got a bar that I don't use. People should come over and drink my hooch.
You should.
Hooch. I have a lot of hooch. So yeah, you could have that business. Anyway, there's a little dog, and I was like, look at this little dog. It was a wire terrier. It was a wired. All right, so the
wire-haired terrier.
Adoption wire-haired Jack Russell Terrier mix from Puerto Rico. He was 6 months old.
Oh.
He was really cute. He had little patches on him and shit. So
love dogs.
I could not adopt him because I'm not allowed to have dogs here. because there's 2 dogs.
Your place is so good, and you can't have dogs.
I can't have a dog.
Dogs there.
I wanted a dog. I wanted a dog. Actually, I want a bulldog. I want an asshole of a bulldog that I used to have, who's dead now, and would chase me around the house and take dumps.
And would drive you crazy, by the way, but you still loved him anyway.
I loved him. He used to take dumps in front. He used to have people come over, and if he liked you, he would take a shit under your table, under your chair.
That's just his way.
It was like hot and greasy. You know what I'm saying? It's the worst kind of dog shit. Not like full like poop, but like it was like hash. It was like
it was like cheap Scotch and Jacks.
Oh,
or White Castle. So I've
cheap Scotch and White Castle. The bum shits.
That kind of poop.
Clam sliders. and whatchamacallit? What's that cheap ass wine?
Boone's Farm? No.
2020. No. Mad Dog 2020. The worst kind of shits. Yeah, we know those shits, guys. I never had a clam one, but why does White Castle make clam sliders, fried clam sliders? Why?
Dude, they are so good.
I knew you were going to say that, goddamn it.
Especially when you're drunk.
Oh, God.
You've been drinking. They are so good. Right, Louis? They're really good. Please stop being bad. I picked you up so I have to beat you.
Never.
Be good.
He's going to lick you.
Be good.
He loves you. I'm going to destroy something now. Here I go. So,
what happened?
Why are we here? We're here to talk about relationships.
Yes.
And as you know, I am very much not the fucking grandmaster of that shit.
As you know,
this is awesome.
I'm far from
the fucking master of that garbage. Fucking A. Bert and I go back a ways, so he knows some of my foibles. He knows all of my foibles. You remember in high school, Bert, when I went up to this girl, at the lunchroom, and she had just put on her makeup, and I said to her, "Wow, that's really nice makeup. You look good, but I really like you better without it." And she said to me, "You're a fucking creep."
A creep.
I was just being honest, but she was like, "You're a creep."
I mean, she was no joke. I mean, it was beautiful.
She laid it out. Laid me out.
It was a John Hughes moment. If John Hughes wrote movies about relationships in the hood, it was great.
I mean, people just fell over unconscious. My high school, our high school, Brooklyn Tech, as I said before, was fucking weird. I don't know how fucking it was fucking weird because everybody there was too fucking smart for their own good. So that became really problematic when people were having sex in the stairwells, which we already knew was happening in other high schools or whatever, because this is New York.
Zagami was the dean telling someone. Zagami was the dean that caught me and my girlfriend, and he also caught the infamous. Your daughter was in the basement, and the mother did not speak English, and she kept saying "Kid," and he kept trying to say to her daughter was giving oral favors in the basement of the school, and finally he said, "Your daughter." She was giving a BJ. And she went, BJ! Oh! So, yeah. Zagami was the
BJ! No! No, BJ!
No, and she was a seeker. For the people talking about Christians, she was a seeker. She was a seeker and everything else, and she got caught. And when I got caught in the halls with my girlfriend, he said to me, Zagami, who I thought was a dean who didn't like kids, he goes, "You love her?" I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Next time, spend money for a hotel,
That's
not
right.
the stairways of the high school."
He said that. The thing is that at Brooklyn Tech, between 3 and 5 o'clock, there were clubs that met. So kids were still in the building doing stuff like basketball or workouts for stuff and working on projects and what have you. The school was actually very active until 8 p.m. every night. Because kids were working on stuff and there was all kinds of shit there. Because Brooklyn Tech is a very big school in a very, very active part of Brooklyn. Even then, where there was a lot of crime, it was very active, and there was people there all the time. And as we progressed through there, we could talk about Brooklyn Tech. We have so many fucking stories. It's not even funny.
Listen, A best thing to tell you is imagine a school full of the best and brightest minorities in the city, and you had to bus in white people from other neighborhoods. So,
right.
So it was just, and right now Brooklyn Tech has gone from being predominantly West Indian, African American, Latino school of excellence to now it's mostly Asian and Caucasian now. So the school has shifted around, but it was a great way to get into the specialized high school system. Great mixing pot. For some people, college was great, but high school was greater. That sounds really weird. People usually love their high school alma mater more than, college alma mater, but there's a lot of pride going to Brooklyn Tech. It means a lot.
There was no
top three school.
Yeah, top three school. We were always number three. Let's face it, but we were number three. Bronx High was number one usually. Stuyvesant was number two. And Bronx High, which no one could get to. I almost went to Bronx High, and then I realized it would take me 2.5 hours to get to school every day, and I said, "Fuck that."
I missed Bronx by 2 points, and you had to go to some school to make up the 2 points, and they didn't. They sent me to Brooklyn Tech. Brooklyn Tech was actually my second choice, and Stuyvesant was my third choice. Believe it or not, it used to be the other way around. I ended up going to Brooklyn Tech, and I've never looked back. It was enjoyable. Yeah. Lots of stuff. First sexual experiences. No, actually, not.
You gotta talk about first sex. I was banging at Tech. I actually got into all three schools. I got into all three schools after I was told by my guidance counselor, because that's what guidance counselors do. Shut up. That's what guidance counselors do. They tell you shit like, "Hey man, you're brown. You can't. Why are you taking this class? Why are you taking this test? You're not gonna make it." He said that to my face, my 13-year-old's face, and I said, "I'm gonna get into every one of those schools." And he said, "Sure you will, kid." And then when he got my numbers, he was like, you got into all three of them." And I'm like, "Where's my money? Where's my fucking money?"
You said 1 week plus Sunday, $2. What movie is that?
$2. Where's my $2? $2. Yeah, we're not going to tell you what that was. We are going to say references. We are going to say one more thing, and that is, he had his testicles all over me.
All over me.
All over me.
French fries, French bread.
French fries.
Drink.
French bread. All right, this is so good. It's such a good movie. All right, we're not going to tell you what it is, though. Fuck you.
We can find it out.
Look at a bitch. My son loves when I do that, by the way. One day we were watching TV, and the dog was right next to us, and he was like, my son was like, "Hey, why can't we hear the TV?" And I said, "Raise the volume, bitch." And the dog was looking at me, and I hit him with the newspaper. Boop. The dog was like, "What the fuck happened?"
How did I get into this?
Wait, what? Me?
That's your puppy, not mine.
I can't have children. Stop.
They cut off your thumbs, Charlie. I know.
They cut off my thumbs. We're gonna just keep saying references. We're not gonna tell you where they're from, because that's
gotta catch up.
We do.
So relations.
My thumbs. Yes. Bald eagle.
It was terrible. So
yes.
How do we approach relationships? Look, I was married from 1990. I was backdoor man. I was married from the 90s up to the 2000s. First marriage broke up. Never thought I'd get married again. Found someone who actually put up with my ass. And I've been married since 2010. And in my second marriage, and after being married a long time, I realized that I don't know a damn thing.
Nope.
And at first, that's the first thing. In the minute you have a problem, it means you don't know ish. So I can tell you from my experiences. A bad marriage can ruin your life. It's more important than the school you go to. It's more important than a lot of things if you're going to get married, if you're really into it. That's how we start.
So I want to say a couple of things about marriages in general, and then we'll talk about relationships specifically. And we can say things about marriage is an interesting proposition. I think that most people are under the impression that you do this for life, and blah blah, and this and that. No, you don't. You do it until it doesn't work. And marriages, and something that a certain gay podcaster likes to say is every relationship you'll have will fail. None of them will succeed. They're all going to fail.
Opposite.
Because even if you have a relationship with somebody and they die, right? It could be fucking going swimmingly, and they die. It ends. It fails. It's just not supposed to be because human beings are fallible. I know what you're saying, but it's not the same.
Now we have a little point of contention.
Okay.
I think that every relationship that you go through and you come out the other side, whether you are damaged, whether you are enriched, whatever, the experience is the thing. Everybody would like to be married forever. You take those vows that some people don't take seriously, that you're going to be married forever.
Really?
Things don't happen all the time. Till death do you part is a nice thought. But sometimes you're only meant to be with that person for 5 years, 7 years, 2 years, or whatever. What are you doing?
Magic trick.
You're gonna make your relationship disappear? Do magic tricks. Da, 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 and it's over. Listen,
no, I didn't make my relationships disappear.
My first.
They are on me like a fucking white on rice. Get the fuck off. What's that scene in that? When the ads eat somebody in one of the Indiana Jones movies? That's how I feel like sometimes.
Something like that.
Something like that. So no, I think you have a good point about coming out of the other side, and you do learn stuff. What I'm saying is that there's not to be afraid of failure is ridiculous because you fail in most things. Your life is about risk, and risk is important. It's important for you to fucking dive into that warm water that people piss in and come out, out in some other way. You got to do it. Otherwise, what's the point? I've learned that I'm a love at first sight guy. When people say I don't believe in love at first sight, I've fallen in love with fucking pictures of people, which is pretty fucking ridiculous if you think about it. But and again, you've known all my relationships in one way, shape, or form. From high school on.
Yes, sir.
But you don't know about this one. In junior high school, I had a crush on this girl, and she was gorgeous. And
She was like this.
Not really.
And that was just her head.
That was just her head. Yes, her head was just like lumpy. I was like, your head is lumpy, and she said, "Stop it! Stop talking to my mother." What? I don't know. Don't know. Anyway, we're trying for jokes here. Some of these are failing. But the whole idea was, I went to my friend, and my friend, who's a little older than me, said, "You know what you got to do? This is what you do. You got to ask her to a place to eat. Got to make it a nice place. You got to pay for it. And you got to dress nice." And I said, well, she's not into it. And he's like, "You should do it." And I said, I did it. So this is what happened. Here's how I know she wasn't into me. She shows up with a friend. Was that a dog squeaking? We went to the pizzeria where I bought pizza. And she showed up with a friend, so I bought her friend pizza too, because I had a job. And then she was there, and we didn't speak the whole time we were there. And I was like, "So what's going on?" And she was nothing. I was like, "How you doing?" Nothing. So okay. Then we went back home.
Good time.
We went back to school. By the way, I was wearing like my Sunday pants and my Sunday Docker shoes and my fucking Sunday shirt because I felt like a complete dick because nobody else was this dressed up. On the way back, she meets a dude that we hang with and talk to him the whole way back to school, which made me realize, fuck this bitch. I'm never ever gonna talk to her again.
And for the rest of my life.
For the rest of my life, I always said hello like this.
Hard on them hoes.
Ooh.
For the rest of my life.
Actually, not really. I'm really bad at being hard on anybody.
No, I mean, it's one of those things where I I was lucky. I was a romantic teenager, so I got less action than my friends because every woman I was ever involved with, I fell in love with. I made this whole big scenario up over and whatever in my head. I was a male romantic, which didn't really get much traction or whatever. Also, you covet most what you see every day. So I saw beautiful black women, young ladies in my neighborhood, but since I was an SP kid, everybody was different races and cultures and stuff. So I had Asian girlfriends, Czechoslovakian girlfriends, German Jewish girlfriends, Irish, whatever. And what it wasn't the choice. It wasn't because I liked them because they liked me. That was the first rule. If you like me, I like you. I'm not trying to break you down or whatever. I don't have that conquest in me like a lot of my friends. If you like me, I like you. I was the Captain Kirk of that thing where Tellurian chicks, sure. Tholian chicks, sure. I'm whatever. It doesn't matter.
Tholian chicks, they're made of silicon. Okay.
They're made of silicon. A hot Tholian babe.
Hot Tholian babe. It's like multiple fucking
lava inputs. It's lava, but you know what? It's electric blue or green lava, depending on how.
Geez, 400 degrees Fahrenheit. No, I hear you, and I like I said, I'm a love at first sight guy. I fall in love with women all the time. In high school, I you know, drop of a hat type of shit. I don't know if it was what the fuck it was, but every year was some new person that I was in love with, and it was kind of sad actually because they weren't. I never got it back, and if I did, it was for the wrong reasons.
Who cares about reciprocation? It's just about putting yourself out there.
It's about putting yourself out there and asking if you could have that cornbread. Hey, I was looking at you across the lunchroom, and I just wanted to ask, are you going to eat that cornbread?
That cornbread, that's it.
That cornbread, or, hey, how about half that greasy peanut butter sandwich? Nothing is better than a New York City school's peanut butter sandwich. Shit is domed. It's domed.
Well, pre or post-government peanut butter?
Post-government peanut butter. The army won't eat it. Give it to the children. What?
If you're a young person, government peanut butter is like, you ever see those TV commercials for Flex Seal? Just make Flex Seal brown and put it on bread, and that's what it was. That's the.
But they give you jelly too. And jelly is a glob of jelly. It's like they put jelly on with a squirt gun, and then the bread is actually a dome of bread. It's like a dome. Like it's almost like I've seen people turn their peanut butter jelly sandwiches into baseballs and eat them. Baseball-shaped peanut butter jelly sandwich.
I miss high school so much that I still have a slice of that bread that hasn't gone bad yet. Sometimes when I go on dates, I put it in my shorts because it's just for luck.
We knew this guy who our junior year of high school, the last day, came to school wearing white. And for some reason,
they've heard this story before.
No, they haven't. For some reason, that was the day. What's that about? That was the day. That was the day that they were serving spaghetti and meatballs,
lasagna, and salad. So a food fight broke out, and he was no longer wearing white. He was wearing lasagna. Let's run it back. That was the friend. If my friends watched the show, they heard a Hovola talk about this story. It was a Hovola who was bombed. Back then, he had a different name. Witness protection program. What happened was we dressed up pretty cool. So we would dress like Crockett and Tubbs from Miami Vice and stuff like that. Earlier in the year, I played on the Brooklyn Tech football team and was forced to quit because my mother would not allow me to play and made me withdraw. And I was going to be a nose tackle and an offensive lineman. I thought I was going to be really good or whatever. So through the year, the football team became angry at me. And also they got angry at me because my friend Ahovola was always trying to get at their girls. He didn't care if you're an athlete or not, because he could beat you up. He was really thin but good martial artist at the time. So they were vowing to get us. So the last day of school, Ahovola, we meet in the morning on the way in, and I'm dressed like Tubbs. And I'm carrying an umbrella for no reason. It's in the middle of summer or whatever, last day of school. And they decide to take revenge on me because I quit the team and Brooklyn Tech football team was bad that year. and on a hovola for going after their girls. So when they came over to the table, they ran over. I said, I'm not even going to run. I deserve it. I abandoned the team or whatever. So certain people like Zeus disappeared. I know he could teleport. So that was amazing.
Well, I wasn't even. I was talking to somebody. I would talk to a friend. That's what happened. I wasn't at the table. I just got up and said, "Hey, so and so," and I went over to talk to them. And then when I turned around, I heard a noise, and there was a wave of milk and lasagna parts flying at these two.
So now, also before there was a trench coat mafia and everything like that, I also had on a long coat, a duster. This is in June, so it shows I have mental issues. But what happened was the bag that hit me, a bag of garbage, and did not burst.
No,
didn't burst. 2 bags hit a hovola and it looked like a scene from a Peckinpah movie in color. Like just a then he was getting bombed by the bags, and at one point both his arms went up in the air and he collapsed like Willem Dafoe in Platoon. Another old reference. Go look it up. Willem Dafoe died in Platoon. He did the Jesus Christ,
and they played the music from Platoon, of course, as well.
And Platoon, and that was the last time he was in the school because he ran away, ran to the subway, and went home covered in lasagna. But yeah, that was the thing. And the funny part was we didn't have sex with every girl. We talked to every girl. Ahola and I were so full of ourselves. We made a line of demarcation in the lunchroom, 6th period, whatever it was, saying that I talk to the girls on this side and you talk to the girls on that side because girls have to like us. Delusional work. Because that's when I learned that women like confidence. So there's no reason for us to be confident. There was nothing. But we were, and we were able to talk to girls. And the funny part is, the person who was the quietest of us, which is Zeus Ray right there, had the prettiest girl. Let's be real.
I don't know.
Don't tell.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Stop lying. So anyway,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Shut up.
Prettiest girl. Anyway. What are you talking about, man? Who was I dating in junior year? Oh,
who did you like? You like 2 beautiful girls. You like Luz.
Yes.
And you like the one that shall not be named.
Magali.
Oh, Magali was awesome. See, Magali, shut up. Anyway, yeah, he had lots of girls that liked him, but he was just very quiet about it and stuff like that and reserved. And
There's no need for me to make a big deal about it.
No.
I'm a gentleman.
What I wanted to say, he was a gentleman, but I also think the fact that his not being full of himself when he could have been is what made women like him also. So that's when we were in high school and stuff like that. And guys only rated success rate by who you banged. And if you weren't banging, you weren't successful. That doesn't mean that. There are girls who I was the guy that girls turned to when their boyfriends were bad. They were my friends, and sometimes that bore fruit. It's been that way my entire life or whatever. Because you actually listen to people, which is important. The biggest thing about okay, so back to relationships really quickly with an understanding of how we're going to talk about this since you brought something up specifically. There is an ongoing thing here that first of all, I want to give you my rules of relationships, and here's the number 1 rule: men are garbage. That's it. Number one. Take it easy.
Wait a minute. Take it easy.
Take it easy.
Men. Hey. Men are garbage. Men are garbage. Why? Because they do 3 things. They do 3 things really well. They don't listen. They don't care about their partner's pleasure, and they don't care about their partner's what they do. It doesn't matter to them if to them they need to be catered to. And when it comes to specific kinds of relationships, like DS relationships, the worst parts of this shows up. And I myself try my best not to be that guy. I try to listen to women. I try to make sure that they're comfortable, and I try to make sure that I understand what the fuck they're talking about. If you're not relatable, what's the point of it? Like, if you're not relatable to the person you're with, what's the point of it? What's the point of being in any kind of relationship? It's not just about the sex or the companionship. It's about the understanding of who they are and what they're about. So, even in high school, I tried to be that guy. Why? Because I was taught by my mom, as you were as well, that women is people. And because they're people, you treat them as people. With a lot of respect and expectations. And if they disrespect you, you hit the bricks.
I've actually changed my mind since we were kids because life, you have these philosophies and ideas, and then life gets in the way and it changes your thought process and everything.
You went to prison, folks.
I was raised with the idea that someone once told me that if you love a woman, you'll treat her better than she treats herself. And this sounds really heavy. I was given this advice when I was a kid, and it stuck in my head. But I didn't realize the sexist implications of it until I got older. It's like, if you love a woman, she's gonna humble herself. She's gonna do things that might marginalize herself, and you have to treat her better than she treats herself. And then what you realize is one of the things that is a sexist idea. I'm not saying it's not true, but it's sexist. But the other thing you realize is that other people aren't playing with the same rule. And if you're not playing by the same rules and guys are taking advantage, you will not be as successful as those guys are. We have a friend, Rohan Crawford, who really is into all the guys who are like Kevin Samuels and all these guys who talk about relationships and how, especially among people of color, Black women don't seem to like or trust Black men anymore. And whenever he's watching this in the comments, he will definitely say something. So when this goes up, look at the comment section, the live chat, and you'll see what he has to say about that. I've come to realize that I no longer believe in like happy wife, happy life. Or we can change that happy spouse, happy house. I believe that that's what I thought beforehand, and then realized that if you make yourself responsible for somebody's happiness, it never works out for you, because then if it's always about them, they'll never do ish for you. And then when you try to get them to do stuff for you, it's unfair to ask them to switch horses in midstream. It's bullshit. So it should be, look, I'm going to be happy, and I'm not going to marginalize you, but I'm going to be happy. You need to be happy too. And then we'll meet someplace in the middle. Let's both be happy. It's not just about deferring to one spouse over yourself. I used to think it was that way. I used to think that if I put my spouse first, then my spouse will put me first. And that's a shithead way of looking at things. It doesn't happen that way. If it is going to happen that way, make sure you're with someone who agrees with your view of it. Oh, as hard as you go for me, I'll go for you.
Right.
That's not how it goes. You go hard for me, and then when you stop, I'm not going to reciprocate because I'm not up to it.
Right.
And so that, that ruins marriages and relationships and stuff like that. And the next thing is, I no longer, if I was to become single again, let's say it's not in the cards for this marriage to last forever and I'm single again, I once said I wouldn't get married. I don't know if I'd be considered marriage material for marriage number 3, because my ideas have changed so much. I think the whole idea will be more of the situation where I am not going to kill myself for you. I'll be there for you to be a partner, but I'm definitely not going to marginalize myself for anybody else ever again. And that's because, let's say it worked the first 2 times. It's not going to work again. I'm not going to do it again. I've done the same thing twice. If it didn't work, that means evidently I have to change something.
Yep. Yeah, I'm not one of the things that I've been saying to people and to myself as well, to keep it as part of a mantra, is I'm not the custodian of your happiness. It's not up to me to make you happy. It's not up to me to do any of that. What it is I'm here to help. I'm here to help. Mm-hmm. I'm here to work shit out with you, to listen to you, to give you advice if you want it or not. I don't have to fucking give you advice. Women hate when men give them advice, by the way. So keep that in mind, men. If you're hearing this for the first time, don't give ladies advice. What you can do is say, okay, that's interesting. I've had something similar happen to me, and that's it. Cue the fucking music, because there's no reason for you to say anything unless they ask you for advice. Don't fucking say anything. Trust me.
But if you ask them beforehand, are you looking for just validation or is this an exchange? They'll get mad at you. But it would be nice if they could say an exchange. You go, okay, or validation, so you know what to do. But you have to pick it up, because once you say that, why would you say that to me? Oh, I'm sorry. What do you want?
No, sorry. Less apologizing and more understanding. That's the other thing. Don't stop apologizing. Stop apologizing. You know why? Because apologies should only happen when you sever somebody's arm. If there is an actual thing that happens, no, really.
Wow.
Let me explain it. When I say sever, let me explain it. We tend as humans to believe, and especially if we're talking about people who've gone through any kind of trauma or are dealing with any kind of PTSD or CPTSD, and this is a lot of Latinos and blacks, minorities and everything else, we tend to believe that we're less, right? We're not enough. Mm-hmm. We're not made of the stuff that are stern enough to be considered worth something.
We're not worthy of.
We're constantly evaluating our worth and it's always coming up lacking. Understand this. You are not that. You are worth something. Right. You are important. So when you make a mistake, and unless if it's a grievous one, you can apologize by saying you're sorry. But you could also just say, hey, I did this, and then explain why it was. If it was something that hurt somebody's feeling, apologize. But if it was just a fucking mistake, then say, hey, it was a mistake. But don't run to the I'm sorry. Don't run to the apology immediately. Be able to stand up for yourself a little bit, because when you start running to the apology is when people start to say to themselves, this guy's a fuck up, or this person's a fuck up.
See, that's a very, I understand why you feel that way. It is kind of cynical, but it is something that's borne out in experiences. Like, I think that along those lines, a lot of people will say they want vulnerability is a sign of love too.
You can be vulnerable. You can be vulnerable and not apologetic.
Well, see, that's the thing. You have to know. So, being apologetic is a part of being vulnerable. That's not what vulnerable is. If you did something you really feel bad, express your truth. If you really feel that you did something bad or whatever.
Oh, sure.
And sometimes people will require something of you so that they regain your trust or whatever. Honesty works, but also being a little bit contrite. Being like, yeah, I'm honestly sorry that I did that. Not just
yes, but
I'm sorry what I did hurt your feelings.
When you do something that hurts someone's feelings, when you cross a line, when you break trust, that's when you should say, and you should be effusive about your apology, and you should be real. For example, let's go down this. Louis C.K. masturbated in front of two women. He whipped out his dick. He said, "Excuse me," while I whipped it out. And jerked his cock off.
It had great sex scenes with Janine Garofalo where they take off their clothes and run downstairs and collect them naked, which I thought was okay because she was with them.
I don't know about that, but anyway, these two women felt like they were abused. And you know what? His apology was weak. He wasn't really talking about the experience. He kind of waffled through it, and that's one of the reasons why he's having such a hard time. Now, that being said, if he was more effusive and expressive in his apology, where he kind of went down to a place where he could have said, hey, this is what I did. I understand why this is why I did it. I understand why it hurt you, and I'm sorry, and this is what I'm going to do to make sure it doesn't happen again, whether it's counseling, whether it's whatever. And he showed that, then he would have done something. It would have done something. Unlike people who always tell you, if you do whatever you do in public life, don't apologize. If you're not willing to see what it is that you've done wrong, and this goes for both sexes and both people, in all genders, in all situations,
all situations.
Then you are an asshole, and as an asshole, you should be treated as one. Don't come to me with like I used to be told that I came with crocodile tears to someone all the time.
Someone said that about you?
Yeah.
Get the hell, oh my God! All right, go ahead.
Because
that's bullcrap. Go ahead. Anyway, go ahead.
Because I was overly abusive in my apology.
I'll put my finger up.
But I think it was. I think it was because I couldn't do anything right as far as this person was concerned, and therefore every time I made a mistake, it was me just going out of my way to do something. But I just to go back, if you're not willing to do the apology right, don't do it at all. If you're not willing to apologize. If you're not seeing it as an apology, if you're not willing to see it as an apology, you need to look at to understand what it is that you've done, and you need to look at it from the point of view of that person. See what it is that you could have, you put yourself in that person's shoes or whatever, but see what it is that could have been the reason why you're having a situation with this. Now, all that being said, I mean, every situation is different. Some people might have seen Louis C.K.'s thing as a joke or not taking it so personally. The fact is that these two women who were just starting out in comedy probably had to deal with this kind of shit a lot, because women deal with that shit a lot. Men are shit. Men are disgusting. They're just disgusting assholes.
No, we're not.
No, you're not.
No, we're
Generally, men are shit. And I'm going to tell you this, how I know this. This is how I know this.
How do you know this?
And how you know this too. I was on the J train going to work one day. Minding my own... The L train going to work one day. Minding my own business.
Oh, poor you.
2018. Yeah, what the fuck? The L train was a mess. But,
before the dark
train, I'm reading my comic book or watching something on my iPad. I don't know, one or the other. And I hear a shifting. and the train's pretty crowded. It's the L train. You know, we just started hitting the white spots, so people started getting on the train. I'm sorry. Williamsburg's, and you know, people started getting on the train that were not the usual, you know, not the minorities that live in Canarsie and what have you. And I hear, and you know, to my right, there's a woman standing, holding on to the thing, and you know, she wasn't pregnant or anything, so I'm not giving up my seat. Fuck you. And this dude, like, was next to her or whatever, and I hear shuffling, and then I hear, what the fuck? And she punches this guy like this, like underneath. She punched him in the balls, and he was masturbating right up against her, like rubbing himself up against her, and she punched him in the balls. And I thought it was the funniest thing I ever saw. Now that is what I'm talking about. That shit happens all the time. You've seen it. That's not all guys. I mean, that's enough of us. That's enough of us disgusting animals that should be set on fire.
No.
And do the firewalk.
We're not disgusting animals.
We have
a different set of
that is a specific shitty thing. But you know what I'm talking about, where men fucking express this understanding that they're somehow greater than women, and that is absolutely false. And we adhere to that in some way, and I find it really fucking disgusting. I'm okay. So, all right, folks, it's gonna get a little dark.
Uh-oh.
I want you to hold on to your hats and your seats.
Or your privates, whatever you need, whatever comforts you.
I am in the past and in the future, hopefully in the future. I'm in a DS relationship. DS is a dominant submissive relationship where I am the dominant and a woman, because I like women. I'm a hetero male. Would be the submissive.
You're not cis. Anyway,
I'm cis, whatever the fuck they call it. I don't even know what it means. Look it up. Let's look up cis, folks. Scooby-Doo. What is the meaning? What is the meaning of cis? All right, here we go.
You're supposed to know this.
Here we go. Cisgender. Hold on. Wait. Denoting or relating to a molecular structure in which two particular atoms or groups lie in the same side of a given plane in a molecule. In particular, denoting an isomer which has substitutes and opposite ends of the carbon. Well, that's interesting.
What
Cisgender describes a person whose gender identity matches their sex alignment at birth.
Yes. So you're a cisgender heteronormative male. And by the way, all those terms are now outdated. Those are 2016 terms, because now you don't even call cis anymore. Anyway, it's just, if you're cis, you're just an ass. So you just say I'm an ass and whatever. I'm a
heteronormative male, more or less.
Yeah, heteronormative male. You can still say
I'm not into penises unless they're my own, or they're really massive on a screen. Then I'm like, holy shit, that's a big dick. Look at the size of that dick. Damn. That's like a Zeppelin. It's like a Zeppelin holding a baseball bat. It's like a baby holding a baby's arm holding a shotgun.
It's the Hindenburg. That's what it is.
It's the Hindenburg. The
Hindenburg of junk.
The Hindenburg of junk.
So being DS does not exempt you from relationship nonsense.
No.
Even though it does cut a lot. No. There's a lot of things that are agreed upon up front.
What it does do, being in a relationship, is that it structures shit in a way that is absolutely fantastic. It's beautiful. Because what you do is you now have a map. You lay this map on your table and you say, we're going to do X. What I want from this relationship is you to wear that on Tuesday nights, and I'm going to beat you with this thing. And it's going to be awesome. And they say, like, I don't know if I want to do that. So what do you want to do? I want you to choke me and then beat me with the stick. And I'm going to say that's going to be awesome because it's important to negotiate. I'm making it really simple here, but the fact is that there's a lot of when it comes to this kind of relationship, the main thing you do is you discuss and negotiate. If you don't discuss and negotiate,
and that would
you don't fucking do what you don't understand, and it makes you understand your partner and what they fucking want. and what gets them off, which is incredible.
That is the benefit of the lifestyle of things. Anything like that is called a lifestyle. A lifestyle. That's one of the benefits of those lifestyles transferred over into regular male-female relationship, any kind of relationship, dating relationship, love relationship. If there's definition, a lot of people don't want to define love or whatever, but if there's definition of what you expect, either have no expectations or define them. That's
right.
What it means.
Right. I just almost broke my entire table here. The fact is, to your point,
that was almost a disaster.
Yeah, it's crazy. To your point, there is this need to level the playing field with an understanding of what's possible, what people want, and questions are asked all the time. All the time, questions are asked because you don't know what is going to be a trigger, what is going to be in something they don't want, that person doesn't want to do, what you would like to do, what that person wants you to do that you don't want to fucking do. I don't want to do that.
I don't want to do that.
I had a discussion.
That's not my case.
I had a discussion recently with a partner where we talked about a certain kind of sex act that they were digging, they were looking for, they were expecting, and I said, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Buy a catcher's mitt and a ferret, and be like, okay, I don't see how this is going to work out.
You put the ferret on the leash in the cage. You lift the leash. Okay, I wear cheese. I wear the cheese suit.
I wear the cheese. I think I got it now.
The cheese. Okay, wait. Hey, what kind of cheese? What kind of cheese is the ferret like?
What's the safe word? That's the safe word. That's it.
The safe word is Donald Duck. So, Bert, I got a question to ask you. Seriously, serious question.
Sure, go ahead.
When you walk around your house and you're walking around your house half naked, is it a shirt and no pants or no underwear, or is it underwear and no shirt?
Am I trying to get action?
No, you're just
trying to get action.
Going to the bathroom. Maybe you can.
Junk is available.
Nothing hot.
Junk is always available.
Junk is always available. So okay, okay, that answers my question.
I don't know why you wanted to know that. You don't watch my vlog. That's the thing. Now I know.
No. Because I don't like being cold, but at the top half. So if it's if I have to go to the bathroom and I'm naked in bed, I put on a t-shirt, but I don't put on any underwear, and I run to the bathroom that way, which has been called escape toddler, and I think it's pretty hilarious.
The escape toddler.
I call it Donald ducking. Others have called it
Donald ducking.
Donald ducking or escape toddler, which I think is really funny. But it is.
Gotta love Donald ducking.
It's just a shirt for some reason, a long sleeve shirt. It's usually a long sleeve shirt if it's cold, but nothing underneath. No underwear. And
sometimes a smoking jacket with no pants. Or
right, but that's when I'm gonna get some action. Action, baby.
Smoking jacket.
Smoking Jackson and smoking jacket.
Free balling. And just free balling.
A smoking jacket, a Star Wars t-shirt, and nothing else. Hello.
And nothing else. That's it.
Hello. Want some bourbon? Put some pants on. No.
No. I will.
No.
I shan't.
No. That's a drinking sound, by the way. It's a drinking sound.
Just reminded me of something. From way earlier, when we first started, we talk about like falling in love and if a relationship is successful if it ends. I would tell you that my first marriage was successful, ended in divorce. I will tell you that a lot of my relationships when I was a teenager were the person I did not end up with them together forever, but I loved them while I was with them, was successful. It was successful and ran its course. Now, if you set yourself in that this is the person I want to be with forever, and then you fall short, okay, I understand what you're saying that it's unsuccessful. Every relationship for you. Like for instance, I'll put it this way: my first marriage was successful because I lived through it, and I got to interact with my kids. My dog is attacking me. I got to raise my kids and all this stuff, and made discoveries about myself that were amazing. And in the moment when the marriage ended, I was like, "This is terrible. I failed."
Right.
It took years for me to come to my philosophy that if you survived it and went through it and take great experiences and it's made great content and you survived it and you're a different person, hopefully a better person, then it was successful.
He landed the plane, crashed, and he walked away.
And I walked away. So I'm evil.
Like Denzel Washington in Flight.
There you go. Upside down, baby. While high. There you go. And that's a great sex position, by the way. Upside down while high. But yeah, so, and also you talked about falling in love. And I'll tell you this way. Successful relationships can be a day. So I'm going to mention a name that other friends of mine have known. I was working as a test proctor and center director for Sylvan Technology back in the day. We were doing all sorts of testing. This is in the 90s. And so people would come in for their candidates to go to graduate school and take the test. So I met this young lady. Her name was Mayumi Fujitami. The reason I remember this name, Mayumi Fujitami, is that Mayumi Fujitami was she was Japanese, Mexican, and she was a curator, assistant curator at the Schomburg Museum in Manhattan for African American studies and stuff like that, because the Mexican side of her family was African American and Mexican. So I met this young lady, and she was an amazing mix of cultures and everything else. And she took her jury, she finished her test, and I sat out there and I spoke to her. Actually, Rohan Crawford hitting me up. I sat there all day. She came in the morning. We were testing until the evening, and we literally had a 10-hour conversation about art and music and African American studies and her Japanese, Mexican, African American culture and everything else. And when I tell you that by the end of it, when we got ready to leave, we exchanged information. She would send me texts and cards. I mean, it wasn't text back then. She would send me cards she moved to Los Angeles and went to USC out there for one of her graduate studies. And she would still send me stuff. And I will tell you that without a doubt, I fell in love with her for the day that she was there. It was almost like, what I love it is, what is that movie with Bill Murray? And it's set in Japan. He's an actor who goes to Japan. He meets an actress. They have a brief relationship and they split up. I can't remember what it's called. It's really good. But it's a Bill Murray movie.
And I own it.
It is great. It's a great movie. I can't remember it right now.
Bill Murray.
So what happened is, in that,
he plays an actor in it.
Yeah, playing an actor who goes to Japan to do an embarrassing commercial and has a short relationship with a younger woman.
Lost in Translation. And that younger woman.
Lost in Translation.
And that younger woman was Sofia Coppola directed.
Colin Yost's wife.
And Scarlett Johansson was a younger woman.
Yes, Colin Yost's wife. What happened is, so I will tell you when we left.
Isn't Colin Jost like 15? How's he fucking married to Scarlett Johansson? She's like 12.
Because, you know what? Because he's a poor, sad white boy who looks as good as he does, went to Harvard, and he's funny as shit, and now he gets Scarlett Johansson because life is fair. Anyway, so Mayumi Fujitami and I, I close down the center. She waits with me. We go downstairs, we exchange information, and she hugs me goodbye. This is way before Lost in Translation. And as when I go, I'm married at the time, married and not really happily married, just married, getting through it. And I said, I love you. She goes, I love you too. And we had a serious first kiss. And I walked her towards Grand Central. Never saw her again face to face. But that was just over 11 hours. So our mutual friend Dwight Coy, the next day, he goes, that was amazing. He goes, you guys went through an entire relationship in an 11-hour work shift. And I was like, dude, she's amazing. And she would send me cards to the center and stuff like that.
And then Bert went to war, and she married a Japanese businessman. And they could never be together, but they just knew that deep down someday.
And now she does TikTok videos. But so it was a.
What about cooking? That's it. Just Japanese cooking.
It was a great 11-hour relationship. Japanese, so years later, as my marriage was breaking up, I told my ex-wife about it. Stop it. I told my ex-wife about it, and she's like, I can see that. She goes, you have that effect on women.
Yes, like, you do. He does. It's really fucking ridiculous. Bert melts panties from across the room. I've seen it happen.
Demented and sad and social. But so that was a successful relationship. We didn't end up together. It was great reacting to her. I knew that she found some hippie piece of crap out at USC and got with them or whatever. But
some hippie piece of crap. Hey man, fuck you, buddy.
But that was a successful relationship. It only lasted 11 hours.
Well, you know. I think my relationship with Luz was about 11 hours long.
Dude, she was super sweet.
Yeah, she was nice.
And I should have went to the prom with her instead of with what you call it. Anyway, that's another story. And then when I got to college, so all these things. I was a romantic. I went to college and watched all my friends getting laid, and I was still like, I'm gonna find a girl and like her and learn everything about her and take care of her and everything else. Didn't care about the amount of sexual interactions, just having girlfriends. And I got my second interesting girlfriend, who was pretty Caucasian. The way she would dress around school is in the winter, upstate New York, is a cowboy hat, a Cowboys t-shirt, Daisy Duke shorts, and boots, but not regular girl boots, not like, and run around complain that no one loved her and that she was going to kill herself. And so, of course, I was completely enamored with her and stuff like that.
What?
I was her black boyfriend during part of college. One of the things, when I was just the more destructive she was, the more I can heal. Literally, I can heal her with my junk. That's what my thing. I was like, she deserves my junk.
It never works. Nope. I've tried.
That's what I thought. And then with the whole idea of, you know, how to hold your Caucasian girlfriend's hair while she throws up, you know, and how to and then do you have to kiss her? And she's like, do you find me beautiful? And she's got barf breath and all that kind of stuff. All those things went on.
Yeah.
But that was a successful
rinse your mouth, sweetheart.
Even though I had issues with her.
That'll eat up your teeth, sweetheart. Rinse your mouth.
It'll make the teeth.
That's why I only date women with short hair.
That was successful with short hair. But that was successful. I would
What are you talking about? This is something I had never heard of before. This is something
we only talk about high school. Like, people don't realize how many colleges I bounced out of while you were going to Boston. Emerson.
Went to Emerson for a year. I went to SVA for 3 years. I did 3 years. 6 more months of SVA, and I quit because I wanted to get married. And that was a fucking mistake.
I went St. John's, St. Francis, Buffalo, Albany, back home, erasing scholarships as I went through, failing my way through different colleges until I finally got my degree. But yeah, so those things, like, what I've learned from relationships is I don't know everything, so I'm open to learning each one. But I also know that I'm not willing to go with someone who's not on the next level that I'm on. So I'm not, as a guy, I'm no longer trying to fix a woman or marry her potential or date her potential. It's what I see in front of you.
Yep.
I'm not going to have unrealistic expectations anymore because all they do is lead to pain. Look, you are here because you want to be here, and when you don't want to be here anymore, you leave. Same thing for me. When I'm done, I'm done. That's how it would change.
You know what I feel about how I feel about dating anybody anymore. So, I've decided that marriage is for the birds, and it really is. I really believe that the way heteronormative coupling in general is bullshit. We lie to each other.
Unless you're a breeder.
Unless you're a breeder, but I've done that already. I've done that. That's in the past. I don't want any more children ever. You know, it's not my idea of a good time. Children in general are somebody else's problem. You know what I'm saying? Your daughter is beautiful.
Worry about it.
She's so intelligent. Here's a stuffed rabbit. Later, you know, that kind of thing. You know, your son is so smart. I got him a book about whales. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Well, you know,
listen,
Uncle, Zeus, can you watch my kid? How long do I have to watch your kid for? Until I get back. Okay, I'll watch your kid. All right, kid, what do you want to eat? We got corn pops, and
I'm having bourbon and hot dogs.
And espresso. I'm having bourbon. You can have espresso or water. Man up, kid.
Espresso, water.
I'm a little girl. I said man up. You know,
I've got some quinine in here. I got tonic.
I got
tonic. That's it.
All we have is boiled eggs and cabbage. No, I'm not Irish.
Listen, I'm going to tell you how you learn from pain. My first marriage, I thought I had kids that were mine. I thought they were mine. My West Indians will know the term. My ex-wife tried to give me a jacket, meaning she tried to tell me that one of my sons was not mine. So it's called giving someone a jacket in West Indian communities. So I've been involved in the rearing and direction of kids since I was in my 20s or whatever. and I have no biological kids of my own. And that's when now I'm 54 years old, 5'4". And so if I was to become a dad anytime soon, I would welcome it. I'm not sure if it's ever going to happen because of my age. And one of the things I would say I lament, although I said the relationships were successful, there was a lot of pain in it when I realized that my kids weren't biologically mine or whatever. But I did love the experience of knowing what I would do if I had I would raise, I thought that my kids were biologically mine, so I raised them a certain way. I would raise my kids a certain way now. Probably the same mistakes I made. I didn't know I was giving a jacket. I was just being a dad. I love being a dad. So I wouldn't mind being a father again at 54. But the thing is, let's say if I got divorced or something like that happened, I'm not going to find women. There are no women fertile in my age range. My wife is much younger than me, 13 years younger than me. So it's one of those situations where if I wanted to have kids, like a good friend of ours who's going to comment on this later on, he wants to have kids. And he's also 54 years old, 53 years old. And people think, why do you want to do that? He goes, I never had it. And they go, well, you're going to have to date somebody young. Yeah, you better get in your mind that you're not going to find someone who's within 5 or 10 years of your high school graduation date. She might have been born when you were, she might have been born in 85, but you're not going to find anybody older to want to give you your kids. You have to adjust your expectations accordingly. So I miss being a dad. You don't need any more kids.
No, fuck that.
You know?
You know what? That's beautiful, man. If you want to have kids, fucking have kids. They're fucking great.
Do it. Make sure the other person's on board with you.
Yes, everyone's on board. We all agree. Children. Beautiful. They're also, you know, they are your heart running around outside the world. Mm-hmm. And you can, whether you were given a jacket or not, I know you love your son, and he's your fucking son. Yes. That's it. So, and I kind of find that that specific thing heinous when someone does that. But whoever does that to anyone, because you know identity's fucking important, man. Identity. One of the ongoing issues about relationships is identity. If you don't know who the fuck you are and what you want, don't get involved with anybody else unless they're in the same boat and you're working shit out together. But don't do it because if you should be able to say to the person you're with, this is what I want from us, from our relationship together. I want X, Y, and Z. And if that's not cool for you, if you can't do it, let me know now.
Punch out.
We'll work. We can certainly, you know. I mean, maybe it'll break my heart, but I'd rather it break my heart now than 5 years from now or 4 years from now or whatever down the road. Let's get it over with and let's move on. Because there's no reason for us to be in a situation that all we're doing is causing each other heartache. Nobody wants that. I just don't have. I used to have 3 strikes. I have 1 strike now, and that strike is, you lie to me, you're out the door. I don't have time for this. And
so forgiveness is not your strong suit right now.
It's not about forgiveness. It's about the understanding that if you can't be straight with me, that means you're never going to be straight with me.
We can't have anything. Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you're not willing to fucking tell me what the fuck's going on right now, that means you're never, it doesn't matter how afraid you are about whatever, or you haven't talked to people or whatever, if you're not willing to say, hey, this is the situation that I'm going through and this is how it's going to pan out for us. Not for me, for us. That means that there's 2 things there. One, you're not willing to talk about it, whatever that is, because of whatever the situation is with the person you're involved with, right? I mean, look, dishonesty is fucked up. Coretta was hiding something pretty fucking important from me. And she was doing it because she felt that if I tell him, he's going to leave me. But knowing you, because you're a softie, you wouldn't have left her. You would have said, all right, listen, I'm here for this kid, but his real dad's going to have to fucking step up. Or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I tell people everything that's going on all the fucking time. This is how I'm feeling about this. 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 Why? Because I don't like fucking surprises. I don't want to surprise anyone. I don't like them. No one should fucking like them. You know, and that's not cool, especially in relationships. You know, if you're involved with somebody and they're seeing somebody else, they should tell you, hey, I'm seeing somebody else. There's no need for fucking cheating. You know why? You know why? Because either you're going to be okay with it or you're not going to be okay with it. It's not going to change 6 months from now. What will change 6 months from now is I was involved with this guy for 6 months. I'm going to let you know about it now, and I'm letting you know because there's no other way you'd find out except for me letting you know, and I'm a guilty asshole, and that's why. Don't fucking tell anybody that. If you're cheating on your man or your girlfriend and no one's going to find out about it because of whatever the reason, don't fucking tell them. You know why? Because that's your foible. You live with that for the rest of your life. Go fuck yourself.
Sometimes honesty is self-serving. That's old. That's something that a few years ago people realized that sometimes you're telling the person what you did because you want to unburden yourself. You know it's going to F them up by hearing it. You tell them anyway. But some people tell that if you cheat, you're like a Trini now. If you cheat, take that to your grave.
Right. If you cheat and they'll never find out about it. Like no one else fucking knows. And that's possible. I've done it. You know?
I'm not only the cheating club member,
I didn't cheat with anybody. What I said was, you know, there are things you do that can, obliterate information from situations, and people don't have to know, you know. And it's like I'm not calling anybody to tell their husband, you know, or wife what happened, but it's not.
I just want you to know I banged your wife and I feel really bad about it.
No.
And,
I will tell you, because I'm also poly, that I'm banging your wife. Hey, guess what? I'm banging your wife. It's going to be awesome. Don't worry about it. She'll be fine. I'm going to take care of her. She's going to come home complaining that, why aren't you rubbing my feet, motherfucker? And you want to rub her feet, because that's what you should do to your wife and your girlfriend. Rub their fucking feet. Rub their feet.
What happened? It was out of our control. It was out of our hands.
Coconut oil in a pot next to the bed at all times. Just saying.
Listen, peanut butter jelly sandwiches for energy.
Or
Jack Nicholson.
What?
Jack Nicholson. Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and champagne. That was his fuel. Besides, he left out the large amounts of cocaine. But, you know, that's all he could really talk about.
It was the 70s.
It was the 70s. Come on.
It was the 70s. No one had invented meth yet. Crystal meth was still 10 years away.
A marvel of modern medicine.
That's right. Cooked in the bathtub.
One of the things that I come to realize is that like Gen Z and millennials and stuff have a different. Some of them have a different view of relationship, and some of them are like when I was younger, I was affected by the culture before me. So I was born in the late '60s, absorbed in it, loved the '70s culture that was coming up in it, watching Bay City Rollers and the Partridge Family and Good Times and stuff like that. But then also I love the music and stuff from the '60s. I was attracted to hippies where I was born. So it's really weird how it goes back. So there's some Z's and millennials who act like us. They view relationships like we do. But there's others who have this new way of viewing it, where it's a lot more open. It's a lot more non-traditional and stuff like that, or whatever.
What's traditional?
I think.
See, that's the thing. You're saying traditional. So let's look at what traditional is. I'm going to let you finish. Please finish, and we'll look at what traditional is in a minute. Okay.
Right. What I'm saying, like traditional is. So this is where I'm wrong. I've been doing shows like this for a long time, and I always say that if you're sexually involved with somebody, you're in a relationship. That's old school. What they tell me is that we're not in a relationship. We're just two people that have sex. I was like, isn't sex a relationship? They go, what are you, old? Yeah, I am. I am old. That's what I always thought it was. So to me, the idea that every relationship that a lot of people have is no guarantees. We're going to be together now. We can not be together tomorrow. It's fine. We're interacted. When an interaction is over, we're done. Mm-hmm. So to me, that's not traditional. If I'm banging you and we're this and that, and we're in a relationship and there's certain expectations that go with it. I think Z's and millennials and stuff like that, some of them are released from that kind of relationship. That one and only key for each lock, or et cetera. They're not like that anymore. So that's what I mean by traditional. Exclusivity
is a trap, right?
I've heard that said before too.
And what it does is this. I can say, hey, when I'm with you, I'm with you. My phone goes away. This is what I do. My phone goes away unless there's something going on that I need to keep an eye on, and I let the person know. My phone, I might have to keep an eye on this. My son calls me or whatever. I have to talk to him or whatever. But my phone goes away. You know, unless I'm looking something up or whatever. It's not like I'm not on Facebook. I'm not doing any kind of social media. It's the phone is on a dock somewhere doing whatever because my time is their time. Their time, the time we have together is their time that we have together.
Don't be a time thief.
Right. If we're watching TV, we're going to the movies, whatever. I'm there for them. It's their time. And if I'm involved with anybody else, that person I'm involved with at that time is their time. So if I go on a date to get milk and cookies with somebody, and another partner sends me a message, I check the message and I usually tell them I'm with somebody right now. I'm going to talk to you. I'll talk to you later.
Right.
It's rude not to, but I'm not going to fucking talk to them. It's not their time. And I think it's important there's a parsing of relationship and time situations that need to be set up and looked at and trusted. If you're not willing to do that, if you don't have the time for somebody, you fucking tell them, hey, we're here now. On Tuesday I'm going to see you, but because of what's happening for me for the rest of the week, I won't see you until next Tuesday, and I won't be able to talk to you. I'll be out of whatever. I won't be able. I'm involved with other things and other situations. Talking to you will be hard, but maybe we'll have some time to catch up over the course of that time. But you don't promise anything, right? You say maybe, probably, I'll try. You don't promise anything, and you try to make sure they understand what the situation is. If that can't be, like that irks somebody, then you have to have the discussion of what it means and how you fucking cut the fucking ties. Because let's be completely 100% fair here. I'm not gonna fuck with anybody. I'm just not gonna do it. I'm not gonna fuck with you and your life and whatever. If you want me to hang, let's hang. You want me to be X? We'll be X. Hey, what delineation of what's my title in this thing and where am I in the hierarchy? Please explain that to me. I need to know that. Am I the boyfriend? Am I the friend with benefits? Am I the guy you see on Tuesdays? All those things need to be spoken out of their mouth. And I need to say, I agree to it so we can move forward. If I'm like, I don't care, do whatever you want, doesn't matter to me, call me when you care, when you want to, that's me saying, I threw the flag, it doesn't matter to me. And that pisses, for some reason, that pisses women off. I don't know why, but it does. And I've said that to more than one person. It was a woman that I see every once in a while. Not often, every once in a while. And we were hanging out in the house, having a snack or whatever. And she asked me how I've been doing, and I told her, and I was like, well, you're involved with other people? I'm like, yes, and these are the people I'm involved with, because why hide it? And they're like, well, have you been reaching out to so-and-so? And I'm like, who the fuck is so-and-so? He's like, oh, this person on Facebook. And I'm like, who? Like, it still wasn't connecting for me, right? And then she expressed who this person was again. I was like, oh, yeah, no, I'm just fucking sending, I'm just sending her, I see her post shit and I respond to it. It's not like, I'm not going out of my way to like create some kind of relationship. I don't know that person. They're not in my life. It's not like, it's not like I'm rushing. Like, there are people that I do want to get to know, because we have some kind of kismet, but they don't know that. They don't know those people. And to be honest with you, if I don't get to know them, I don't get to know them. It's not going to end my life. I got other shit going on, And that's the thing. I get that. And that's the thing where you have to fucking expressly delineate what the situation is to be fair to the other person. You don't have to no one has to fucking write a book about it, But hey, I can only see us seeing each other on Tuesday nights because that's my opening right now. Tuesday nights. I have other shit going on. I think you're really cool, but you have other shit going on too. You have a kid. You have a mom in the hospital. I don't fucking know. Tuesday nights is what works for us. Let's keep it on Tuesday. And that's fine. And if things blossom from there, great. I can't get enough of you. Please see me on Wednesdays as well. Can you do that? Or something.
I already tried to define it. Let's throw back. You said that men are garbage. What is not garbage? What did you say? Men are what? We're what?
Men are trash. I said garbage too.
Men are trash. One of the things I would say is that you just pointed up on one of the things that we have a lot of female friends that talk about the issue they have with guys is that the idea that every time a woman asks, this is for male women, and it's got to be the same dynamic in other areas. The person whose needs are being the most met can be the most confusing person. They don't want things to change. So a lot of women will say that men don't want to be defined. Why are we defining this? And a lot of guys are like, yeah, why do you want to define it? Because only you're happy. She's not happy. She wants to know where she is. There's certain sacrifices that she'll make and certain things that she'll do if she knows where her footing is. And guys will tell you, they won't tell you, but guys who deal with lots of women and like to and basically cause women trouble, they know if you keep them off balance, they stay off balance. And you can keep them around longer if they're off balance. And that's where we're bad. That's where guys are bad. But I found out in same-sex relationships, it's not a strictly a male thing. It's a personality archetype. Narcissists only want things to be defined inside their head. So if you're involved with a narcissist and you try to ask them, well, what are we? And they say, whatever we are right now is working for us. They don't really mean for us. They mean it's working for them. They're happy inside their head, their freaking heads. So that's one of the things that happens. Narcissists and people who overgive make the most toxic relationships ever. And it's hard to see those things go away. If you're someone who gives, there's going to be someone who expressly deals in taking.
There is this thing. I understand what you're saying, and I'm going to tell you this about the definitions of relationships. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all about it. Let's define the fuck out of this. You want to know what's going to happen? Mm-hmm. You're not going to like it, but I'm going to tell you exactly what's going to happen. And I'm going to define it for you. You know why? Because I don't like surprises. And I said that to you more than once.
You said it before. You don't like surprises.
I'll say it again. I don't like surprises. So this is what's going to happen. I'm going to tell you exactly what the situation is. And you're going to be like, well, why can't it be this way? And I'm going to say, because that's not what I want. And
that's what I want.
And there's the door. I like being alone. I have a whole apartment by myself. That's really nice. And I don't need anybody in here at all to fuck things up for me. I'm happy to see you. I'm happy to be with you.
No hard feelings.
No hard feelings. You can call me next week. We're gonna have soup. I don't care. But I'm not gonna make it into this thing where there needs to be this like definition of who you are, of who we are. No thanks. Just not there.
So see that's where people, men, women, sentient robots who are sexually curious, whatever. You're always gonna have some who are nicer or more easy to deal with than the other. So I had this thing about relationships I thought was really funny. It's going to date me a lot. I used to run into women who were gay, who loved me. They liked the way I dressed. They liked whatever. And I noticed that they're like, so let's say she's very femme and the person was more masculine defined. The femmes still like me because I realized that the women that they liked dressed like I did, Timbs and baggy. This is 90s, Timbs, baggy jeans, whatever. And I was like, well, you don't necessarily. I'm not sure if it's so much that you necessarily like women. You got tired of being hurt by men, but then you picked a woman who resembles the men you used to deal with. You're gonna have the same problems. This was in the 90s. Then as I went through the 2000s and encountered more same-sex relationships where people literally go, I got tired of women or I got tired of men. I've gone over to this side, and you talk to them and you look, I meet the person. I'm like, yo, that person is just the same as the last toxic asshole you did that was of the opposite sex. You like assholes. That's the whole thing. You like assholes, but you think it's safer, or you figure that I won't treat you bad. And then I see you on social media talking about how she slept with your friends. I've been to same-sex marriages where you look at the people and you're like, that person there is like a homie. I know me and homie get down, same mind, same mental thought pattern, everything else. Me and homie get along like this. You look at I'm looking at, so this is one wife. I look at the other wife and I'm like, this wife is outgoing, like a homie, can hang with the boys, all this kind of stuff, or whatever. And if he was a man, would become considered a womanizer, or it could be a womanizer, whatever. And then I found out that the person, my other friend, was a homebody, in their 20s, wearing night peignoirs and nightgowns, just old fashioned and stuff like that. I said, this is not going to end well. It's not going to end well because you don't like. You like this person, and the sex might be great, but the personality archetype caused you pain beforehand. So it might be a year from now, or 5 or 10 years from now, when that person shows who they really are, you're gonna want to break up with them because you just picked the same damaging person, the same damaging archetype, just the same sex as you are.
So I mean,
that's an interesting. That comes up a lot.
That's an interesting thing. I find that minorities tend to be a little bit more gender fluid, and relationship fluid.
I wonder.
Than whites. You know what I mean?
I wish people could comment on that. I'm not sure. I'm all right. I'm
especially
not sure.
Especially people from our generation who grew up in certain situations seem to be a little bit more like, you know, I'll do X, I'll do Y, I'll do whatever. It doesn't really make a difference to me. 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
All right, my phone is dying and I have to. Pardon me, folks. Sorry, I don't have a producer here. So what do you think of this? Before we keep going, I just want to ask you a question. What do you think of this remake that Steven Spielberg is doing of West Side Story?
So I saw the commercial and was not impressed. The trailer, excuse me, wasn't impressed. I don't know. The lightning in the bottle. I think it's going to be overdone. I think it's not going to be as bad as if it was Tyler Perry's West Side Story, but it's not going to be whatever.
Tyler Perry made a West Side Story.
No, but if he did, you know how it would go. It would peter out in the third act, and he would. But
he really fucking. You are such a Tyler Perry critic. You like fucking. He is. I don't watch his films. I don't find them.
People say I support Tyler. Every crappy pile of Tyler Perry dung he's gotten my money for.
All right, wait. He was in Star Trek. I did see him there. I was okay with that.
But yeah, I support the Tyler. But he would just be playing a Puerto Rican mommy, Medea with an accent. Hello, hola, like whatever. It would be something that stupid. What's really funny is though, I saw the commercial for the trailer for Dear Evan Hansen, relationships and stuff like this. The entire story of Evan Hansen. I never saw the play, but I bought the soundtrack because every morning on the way to work, they would play the commercial every morning on 1010 Wins, and I fell in love with the song. Then I bought the soundtrack, and the soundtrack to Dear Evan Hansen brings tears to my eyes. So when I watch YouTube and the commercial comes on, I avoid it because it gets me teary every time I see it. But the funny part is that the wonderful actors who are able to pull it off on stage look like they're 70, playing teenagers. So the star whose name I can't remember, it's good when it's a play because you're far away. You're far away from him. So the illusion of him not looking like a 30-year-old in a fright wig is whatever, but it's not going to take away. So Dear Evan Hansen, I'm going to go see it by myself. So I'm going to walk into the movie theater in tears before the movie starts. Yeah. That's how much I love the music of the song and the idea about the song.
It's so fucked up. It's so fucked up that we're still dealing with movies about fucking acceptance. And that's like the thing, right? Like the idea of no one accepts this poor child. You know, it's what all Disney movies are about, right? It's like thrown into a void. It's like 5 Goes West. You get thrown into the void. You're separated from your family and stuff, and then you got to find your way through it. So you got to find your way through it.
Dear Evan Hansen is going to make me bawl.
I cried at the commercial. I cried. I was just telling my therapist that I cried at the fucking commercial for Dear Evan Hansen.
So, dude, it brings tears to my eyes.
It's fucked up.
I can't watch it. And the thing is, I said, and then when every morning I would watch so I learned to sing the songs. There's 3 different songs from the movie that were on the commercials on 1010 Wins, the morning drive time radio station I listened to. And so it made me buy I have not seen. I only saw the play when they 2 years ago they did the Tony Awards. They actually had the cast up there. And
is it still running? I think it's still running, right?
No, it's not. I'll be going to see it now. I go see that and then go see the movie. But I don't think it's coming back. It might be national tour. So the whole idea of acceptance and being alone and all that kind of stuff, it hits me because I know what it's like. I know kids. I used to counsel kids too, amongst the many things I've done. And that feeling of being isolated and everything else is horrible. And the fact that kids would commit suicide because they didn't feel loved or they were not loved by the people they want to be loved by. Like, in other words, you're a kid, and the only people that like you are adults. Or the only people that like you are little kids. But your contemporaries, you don't jive with them. You don't have a tribe. And that's a big deal. A lot of men are unhappy because they're a certain age. Let's say you get divorced. When you get divorced, one of the issues you have is that you have your tribe was your family. Now you don't have a tribe. And men love tribes so much. That's why we do role-playing games, play fantasy sports, go bowling, baseball. All the stuff we do is because we need to have other men to be around. We're social. And when you get divorced and stuff like that, your tribe is taken away from you. You're exiled. Yeah.
Okay. Dear Evan Hansen comes back in December of 2001. You and I are going to go see it.
Why, you want to watch me cry like a bitch? Yes, yeah. So at least I won't feel so bad.
But Sunday, December 12th, was like, me and you holding hands and going to see the show.
She was like, "Why does that affect you so much?" I go, "Because there was a point. I've dealt with so many kids and contemporaries who wanted to kill themselves. Just being really serious. Oh, I am the person that people come out to when they had sexuality issues, and they would talk to me because they felt that I cared when they were thinking about ending their lives. So I take suicide and depression and stuff really seriously. And so as that person, I know how the feeling of being alone and not being accepted can drive you to end your life, and life is wonderful. And I'm one of the people that, even in the fact that my life has not been great, I've enjoyed the ride. Like if you're a Christian and be of faith and you get to God, what do you ask? I'll be like, wow, that was a great ride. Can I do it again, or I'm going to heaven? Like, I've experienced everything that I've experienced, even stuff that was painful. I know there's more things to come. My mom, the last generation of my family is going to pass away. I'll probably be there for that. My pastor at my church. There's so many other things in my life that can happen that are bad, but the overall experience is the race, the marathon. That all of it is the whole thing. I love the experience for it. There's some people like that's why even in my misery, I don't stop. I try to keep going even in misery, because that's, if I stop, it's over. I'm gonna play this string out to the end. Yeah, I'm thankful they make me feel not alone. That Dear Evan Hansen, and it's so corny. It's so corny, but the songs are so good and stuff like that. So yeah, but as far as West Side Story, I don't know, boss. I don't know. I'm gonna head out. I don't know about that. Spielberg, I don't know. I don't know why. What was the point of remaking? I don't know. But anyway,
I like it. You're like, I don't know. I like how you're. I don't know. Hey man, it's all good. I'm just curious because I'm actually looking forward to it. It looks really good. Mm-hmm. And plus, one of my favorite big-lipped actors is in it. Is it Anson Elgort? It's
one of them.
It's
one of them. One of them.
He was the guy who was in Baby Driver. Yeah, Ansel Elgort.
Baby Driver. Such a good movie.
Fucking one of my favorite movies by that director.
A movie you can watch over and over again.
I can't. It's so, and the characters on it in it are so despicable. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's that kind of
unabashedly, unapologetically so I really enjoyed it. I don't know. I mean, I remember when I was other shows and stuff I've done where people were calling in and talking about like living a life of silent desperation. Like, one of the things I would tell anybody is silent desperation serves no one. It just makes you more miserable.
It is the English way, though.
I would much rather be despised for telling you exactly how I feel and giving myself a chance to heal by being out loud. Like, just being in a marriage, like the whole idea there are guys who come home and have to smoke a joint in the car before they go in and literally have to swallow and concentrate to put up enough of a brave face to face their family. That's gotta suck. And I'm not saying that you beat up on your kids, but like, hey, I hate you, and punch them in the face when they run up to you, Daddy, you punch them. But to explain to your spouse that this is not working, or I'm having issues coping and stuff like that. I think it's better. What I've come to realize, and I could be wrong, is that it's better to be, like you said, honest. If you're not happy, tell your spouse you're not happy. Don't let them operate under the idea that everything is rosy and stuff, and you're thinking about eating a bullet or whatever. Don't do that. You're not serving anybody.
Right. I just think it's important look, the biggest thing about people is they don't like to fucking talk about shit because it's embarrassing or whatever the fucking situation is, and I think it's kind of fucking stupid. I think it's incredibly important for people to let other people know where they're standing with stuff, and so they can. So, hey, this is what's going on. Okay, I don't like what's going on. Is it going to be something that's going to be going on for a very long time? Yes, I don't see this changing anytime at all. Great, I need to start figuring out what I'm going to do. And that's fair, right? That's completely 100% fair. And I don't want to drag anybody into my mess or my situation or whatever. And that's why I'm living alone in an apartment myself.
But you left out great apartment. We spoke about this earlier. Great apartment.
My apartment is great.
And listen, we so before we did this, we were talking about relationships and stuff like that. And what it is that a lot of people are afraid to be alone, especially if you've been in a relationship for a long time. You're afraid to be alone. You're afraid to be in a place that becomes an echo chamber of just your own thoughts and stuff like that. When you get divorced or whatever, it's one of the things you have to face with divorce. There's going to be a time when you're alone. There's going to be a time where you're like, wow, at least tonight I would have been fighting with somebody.
Right.
At least tonight I would have had crappy sex. It would have been sex. At least tonight we would have had one good conversation before we started to fight. And it's, that's one of the things that happens. But a lot of people they don't want to hear the sound of their own voice. Like, some people are good. You get to know yourself, what you like. You only answer to one person, yourself. If you can do that, then you'll appreciate more the time when you're with somebody else, but also you'll realize when they're wasting your time.
Right.
Because you're like, when I was by myself, we talked about earlier, when I was by myself, I started painting, I started cooking, I learned what my favorite alcohol is, I studied. All these things you do while you're on your own. Then you realize you're with somebody, you're like, they don't really want me here. They have me here because that's where I'm supposed to be. They'd actually be happy if they're by yourself. So if you tell somebody, I'm not coming over tonight because you have work to do, or I'm going to leave right now. Why? We had a great evening. Yeah, and I'm going to leave because there's stuff I want to do at home. I want to sit in my underwear and play emulated Wii games on my computer.
2 days.
And I'm out.
2 days is 3 days is the actual threshold. But 2 days is my kind of like thing. We can hang out for 2 days. If it's a vacation thing, there's distractions, so you're not there with that person all the time.
There you go.
But 2 days is it, and for me. And if we go a third day, it's because there is something we need to do together, whatever. But for the most part, I'm actually like, I start to get anxious. I start to wonder like where what's going on at the apartment. Something's going on at the apartment. I think there might be. I might have to, smash an avocado and make guacamole or something. I don't know what's going on. I got to do it.
Is somebody touching my ish?
What's back at my house. Someone's touching my shit. Who's on my shit?
So, I mean, that's one of the things. And if you're in a relationship, as soon as you tell someone, I love you in the time I'm with you, but I need some time to myself. Well, you must not love me at all. No. Well,
that's because they're taught by situations and trauma to be codependent. And you need a traumatic experience to help you stop being codependent. You know what I'm saying? I spent, and I told you this. I broke up with my wife, and for the second time during COVID, I just couldn't live with her anymore for various reasons. She couldn't live with me either. Please, it's not me fucking calling anybody out. It's just what it is.
Because you're a man.
Because I'm a man. And I found this great apartment. And I lived in here a fucking alone for 6 months before I started dating anybody. And it was rough. It was a rough fucking 6 months. It was me with myself. And, I read sometimes and not really. I watch TV sometimes and not really. It was just me basically wallowing in self-hate. And then I had to fucking work through it because I don't hate myself. I worked through it to understand what it was that I was about. And you know what? It was because I was fucking trapped in this idea of codependency. And people have to be there for you. No, nobody has to be there for you, man. No one has to fucking do a thing for you. You know why? Because you're absolutely capable of doing it yourself. No one's going to take care of me. Watch me roll myself up into a burrito after smoking a bowl and watching Moana until I fall asleep. You know why? Because I've done it before.
You're welcome.
Do it again. Yeah, you're welcome.
I can do it again.
Although I like Shiny a lot better. But that's the thing. I mean, I don't need anybody up my ass all the time. You want to come over and watch TV and screw? Awesome. You want to come over and watch TV and then go out and get some dinner and then come over and screw? Cool. We don't have to screw at all. We could just hang out. We can cuddle. I can tell you, we could tell each other jokes, whatever. We could watch Ted Lasso all weekend. I did that once.
Very good show.
So it's awesome, and I mean, I have certain rules that I would like you to adhere to if you were a woman coming over to my house to watch Ted Lasso with me, and these rules revolve around nakedness, as naked as you can get, and the smallest panties you can ever wear. Those are the rules.
No, that's it. No, listen, as long as she understands. Ooh, look at that. Ooh. As long as she understands the ground rules, then it's.
And it's fine, It's just like an expectation. It's like I would like you not to wear as little clothes as possible, and the smallest pair of panties you have.
That should be enough.
Yes.
One of the things I realized is like being afraid to be alone. Not understanding whatever you think love is. Look, I'm okay with almost everything. Anything you guys want to do, just make sure that the other person is down with it, so they're not being marginalized.
Right.
So listen, I used to love the lifestyle and DNS and everything else or whatever. So I had a group on Yahoo of Christians who wanted to sample the lifestyle, and I told them about domestic discipline. And they loved domestic discipline, loved it, and they felt bad. And I said, "Here's the thing." I go, "Are you being to the female? Are you being marginalized? Are you being forced into this?" Well, no, I like it, and sometimes I do things wrong on purpose so it gets to market in the book. And I go, "Don't tell me that. Just don't end the scene. Stay in your scene.
Stay in your scene.
He's not stay in your scene." And I go, and what about you? Well, I like it too. Then guess what? As long as neither one of you are marginalized, and a little slap and tickle and whatever, then do that. As long as both people are into it.
What about hitting somebody with a paddle or a cane? Can't do that?
If they're into it.
What about the Home Depot pieces when you go and get the gardening tools from Home Depot?
A low-speed drill.
Home Depot is called Dom Depot in some circles.
Dom Depot.
Where you would go and get gardening supplies and use them as things to beat your sub with.
I will tell you a joke. Is that,
and zip ties are cheap, folks. Zip ties are cheap.
I wear vests and bow ties a lot. I wear vests and ties. I even took up wearing some poofta guy I knew was wearing cravats, and they look really good on me.
How dare you, sir? How dare you? This is going to be the winter of the cravat, man. I got 4 of them. I'm going to fucking wear them like a motherfucker.
Dude, I have some.
I'm going to wear them on my motorcycle.
When they work.
What?
What happened is that you can be in different places, different environments, and people will call you out for what your lifestyle is. No. Like I met someone. I met this at a church function. I met this young lady at a church function, and I'm wearing my vest and where I normally dress. And she's looking at me, and she walks over to me, and we've already been introduced. And she goes, "Can I say good evening to you, sir?" And I was like, "Ching, okay, listen, we's in public now. You just." And then I mentioned to somebody else. They go, "Yeah, there's a lot of people in the lifestyle." And someone said, "Well, how'd you know?" I was like, "The way she addressed me, and the way she asked permission for certain things."
Yeah.
When I do shows, and there are people in there who are like, "Excuse me, sir, I want to ask you a question." Wait, yes, all right, fine. So, but the whole thing is, the sexiest thing about all of that is, besides the activities, is the consent. Is being on the same page. Is not being Me Too'd or whatever, anything like that, or time's up or any of that bullshit. Consent is the most amazing part of it, but it also keeps things interesting and alive. Like I don't yuck anybody's yum. I don't knock anybody's kink or lack of kink. You know what? If sex is ice cream, vanilla is a great ice cream too.
Vanilla comes from Madagascar.
So is French vanilla fudge.
Yes. Yes. That comes from France.
Listen, vanilla is fine. French vanilla is fine. I mean, it's really funny amongst people of color. You'll ask them, they'll be like, "I'm a freak." And what do you mean by freak? I get from in front and behind. Yes, you're a freak. Ooh, but you know what? Again, that vanilla can be great. Enjoy vanilla. Don't harsh anybody's high by being against it.
Yeah, I mean, is there a need for any of that shit? Does it really matter? Who are you to judge? Like I said this to people before, and I'll say it again. I don't know shit from Shinola. Who am I to judge what your relationship are with the person? I used to be kind of like I used to
it was gross.
Be like clutch my pearls and shit. But at this point, really, I'm 53 years old. I'm 53 years old. What difference does it make? As long as you're doing whatever the fuck you're doing that makes you happy and you're not hurting anybody. As long as you're not a cannibal, you eat somebody's foot, you're good.
Like if I don't have to watch it or smell it, I'm okay. That's it.
As long as it doesn't bring any roaches to the apartment. You know what I'm saying?
I'm saying that.
Throw out the garbage, please. I've asked you this before. Throw it the fuck out. Please, the roaches. We don't want roaches here.
And by the way, stop running through safe words. I know what a safe word is. She's very loud, and we both heard her say Rockefeller. We both heard her say Rockefeller through these thin walls. Stop running.
Matter of fact, could you just use the color? Just let her say red, so you'll know when to fucking
just
stop.
Let her say red.
Just let her say red. She said yellow twice now. Maybe you should fucking calm down. But the thing is that I actually think
I'm not judging you. But
here's a stick to beat the lovely lady with.
But I think that the idea that a lot of people don't think it's okay to bring toys to bed or do it, especially amongst communities where you're not supposed to have another partner and you're supposed to be together forever, you've got to be able to make it sex palatable to both people. And you don't want to have a situation where the sex ends so many years before the relationship does, where the intimacy ends years before the relationship does.
Right.
And there's nothing, and also there's not always be sexual intimacy or stuff.
No,
it's not. No. It's important, but it's got to be something that you guys have that's special to each other. These are all things other in the relationship.
I enjoy walking with a lady, not young. It doesn't matter if they're young or not. A lady and holding their hand in public. Why? Because I like holding a lady's hand in public. It makes me happy.
Me too.
Hold a lady's hand. I actually understand that a lot of women have a thing about wrists. Have you heard about this, Bert?
No.
Well,
please enlighten me.
Women, many women that I've talked to, not just the one I'm involved with now, have this thing about wrists, about holding their wrists, about rubbing their wrists, about reaching to them, reaching for their wrists and holding them by the wrists when you want to do something specific. Not their hand, their wrist. Why? I don't know. Erogenous zone? I don't know. Ankle seems to be important too. But that's another story. We'll talk about that later. But
that's another story.
Stay away from the organs.
Listen. I love watching people in relationships who've been together for a while, and in certain settings, you can tell that they're still intimately involved with each other. Like what I love about the Obama administration, what I loved about Obama and his wife is the fact that if they were not still sexually active, they were still very attracted to each other. And through everything else, it was kind of hard for him to hide his attraction for his wife, especially when he had to learn that I can't put my hand on her ass every place we go, but I can put my hand on that slight rise between her lower back and when it starts to form her glutes. And that's where his hand always went. And you watch that amongst couples who are still, if you don't touch your woman's lower back, then I know you're not banging each other. And if she does not like it when you put your hand there and your hand isn't automatically drawn there, so it got to the point where when the Obama administration was over, they kept putting all the times up where his hand went down to that comfort area, her backside, all the time. He had to actually break himself out of the idea of always going to his woman's lower back, and the fact that it never seemed to bother her. I was like, that intimate connection, the fact that he would turn to kiss her in elevators. They're like, well, Mr. President, whatever. I like that. I like when I see. I love it because I'm in a lot of church areas where I see old church couples where it's the pastor and the first lady, and you watch them interact with each other, and I'm like, I'm not trying to be that guy, but your pastor and first lady were probably late to church because they were doing something this morning. You can see it in them. Yes. You can see it when she goes to walk by him and she puts her hand, she does this on his chest as he walks by. And you see that look in his face. All right, now, like she knows she's playing. That's where it's because a lot of great sex starts with little touches and stuff like that. I love that. When I see couples married 30 years, you're like, they still get busy. They might hurt each other. They might been gay afterwards, but they're still knocking each other down. That's a beautiful thing.
I think that there's nothing more beautiful than the small of a woman's back. And as a man, if you or whoever loves a woman,
good save.
I'm not gonna.
Brava.
The understanding is, to me, is the hand starts right behind the shoulder and then rolls down to the small of the back, and it stays there for however long it needs to stay there. It's actually a tango move, but it's specific to what it is. Like, let's go this way. You know, I maneuver women with that. I like, you know. Also the hip, and right above the hip, and the incline of into the torso. That's also a very good place to put your hand, because that's
going to get you laid.
It's not it's not untoward, right? It really isn't. If you know someone, if you're getting to know someone or you know somebody intimately, that's not an untoward place to put your hand. It's a very specific, knowledgeable place, especially how you hold it. So to your point, touch is incredibly important, and I also felt that one of the things that I found really interesting about Obama and the First Lady is they were a partnership. They were an actual fucking partnership. It wasn't strong man, orange asshole. It was dude with his wife working together to do shit. And I don't understand the need to tear that down. Don't get me wrong. The First Lady, Malignant, whatever her name was. Melanoma. I don't know. The hypocrisy is the thing that bugs me the most. Just fucking let them be. If they're gonna be dumb, let them be dumb. If you're gonna comment on them being dumb, her taking pieces of somebody else's speech, whatever, fine. But let them just try to do what they can do. Because they're not the president. You know, like people going after Joe Biden. Why? Let her just fucking be. Let her do her shit. Let her do her initiatives. Whoever the fuck she's doing. She's a teacher. She's trying to get people taught. Good. Why is that a problem? Why is that a problem? You know, she turned him down 3 times before they got married. Melina said yes, as long as you bring my parents over here. I come from a shithole nation.
I'm not mad at Melanoma because one, she was in Maxima, that's cool. But the sheer fact of the matter is that she is every Eastern Black girl who dreams of being a mail order bride. She is their role model. She made it to the top. She is the Michael Jordan of mail order brides. Like but also the thing is that she secured the bag and got to be the First Lady of the United States. I give her all props and credit for that. I wouldn't go so far as a friend of mine was saying that she should be for sex workers' rights. I'm gonna leave that alone. I think that's not nice or whatever.
Well, I agree with that though. I think that overall, she had the power to do something about it. She could have actually said and done something about sex workers' rights, and she didn't.
Why do you want more? She didn't, because she's not going to. She's not gonna talk about mail order bride. She's not gonna talk about. Luckily for her, she had great cheekbones. Because if you're born anywhere from Poland eastward, it pretty much, if you're not hot, it's not going to work for you or whatever. And that she as they say, she secured the bag. Love him or not, she understands the terms of her agreement.
I'm not. You know, I don't know. I'm not. Again, I don't have any ill will towards her. She says she does not want to be First Lady. Again, I don't think Trump should run. If we're going to talk about politics for a minute, I don't think Trump should run for election. And I think that the Republicans have a fucking crown card again, and it's going to be a real problem because the people who it's going to be the governor of Texas, it's going to be the governor of the governor of Texas is going to be the governor of Florida. It's going to be who are now like the shining stars because abortion and killing people with COVID, you know.
Freedom ain't free.
And the amount of kids that have died that have COVID now in Florida and Texas have risen to 30% more than last time, which is a real problem. And I feel bad for the people who live in those states, you know, and I feel bad for the people who are still denying what COVID is. And I feel bad for the people who don't want to get vaccinated because of the pharmaceutical industrial complex.
which was actually in the news today, talking about how things aren't going far enough. You don't realize the full power of the pharmaceutical industry. Like last week, Purdue Pharma got they had to give up money and stuff like that in the settlement against their company for OxyContin. But when you look in the fine print, the amount of money is finite. They're going to make billions of dollars, even as the company racks down, but they're only responsible for so much. The corporation, which is viewed as a living entity, is taking the hit for them, and the people behind it are getting away relatively scot-free, a few $1 million a piece. And that was going to happen. But it also shows that it wasn't pushed. The judge that accepted the Purdue Pharma, I believe, was a Republican appointee. But so instead of holding their feet to the fire, he let them off the hook. America's going to be dealing with the scars of OxyContin for years and the lies of Purdue Pharma. But that's how, in this country, everything has a price. As far as Republicans running for president in 2024, I'm not sure, God forbid, and I don't wish death on anybody, but I'm not sure if Trump is healthy enough to be around to run then. I think the other guys might raise up. No, I'm just saying.
I'm not.
I don't want him to drop dead.
Look, natural causes is an awesome murderer. It does a lot of work. Natural causes does a lot of work for America. You know what I'm saying? Gets rid of people, in all kinds of ways. And I'm all for it. I'm all for natural causes running its course. He's a mess right now. I think physically, I think COVID did a number on him.
Almost died. I heard
cognitively he's getting worse, and
in the episode that you did recently, you talked about him almost croaking from COVID and stuff like that, and everything else. So I'm not sure if he's healthy enough. I also don't think that Biden's going to run again in 2024. I think he's going to step aside and have the vice president run.
If Kamala Harris runs, the Dems are going to lose.
Well, no. What I would hope is that they go, we need Negroes, and they'd run out conservative Negroes like Larry Elder and Tim Story would be their ticket. Too black, too legit, too black to lose, and whatever. But
Larry Elder
anyway. Yeah, and what's he's crazy also.
He's not.
Yeah, but I don't know what's going to happen in the 24 election. I don't think Biden should go for another term. Get what you can get done now. He may or may not, just because of his age, dude, and just being tired. I mean, yeah, he does run and bike ride every day, which is amazing. And by the way, I'm upset because I'm falling apart in my 50s. And after Charlie Watts died, I was watching film footage of the Stones. So I went to see the Stones in concert in the 80s in the Steel Wheels tour. Or was it Tattoo? One of those I went. One of my friends' dads paid for us, or whatever. One of the 80s tours. And I remember how Mick Jagger never stopped moving across the stage. He was 50 then. So now he's in his 70s. So I watched the last show that Charlie Watts did with the Stones in Miami. It was in the rain. Did you know that this guy in his 70s ran almost as much as he did in the 80s and 90s? He had a heart surgery last year. Yes, he has fathered another kid. So he's got I think that's 60 years age between his kids. And yet he ran, now it wasn't as long, it was still 2 hours. But I want to say if you could just run from one side of the stage for other for 2 hours, breathing as hard as you can because you're trying to sing. It's amazing. So that's my aside, is that what the hell do I have to do so that when I'm 70, I can do stuff that I can't do at 50? I can't do that at 54 years old. I can't run around the stage like he can. He's 70-something years old.
Well, that's because you're not running. You're not running. So,
dude, he's amazing.
I don't want to run. I don't want to run around here because we have a lot of hills. But I need to exercise more often.
Coward.
Well, I mean, I can, but I want to get into better shape. So I bought myself a foldable exercise bike, and I'm going to be doing 30 minutes every other day. We'll see what happens. We'll see. So hey, man, I used to ride my bike. I used to ride a bike every day. I used to ride my bike to work when I worked at a messenger company. I rode from fucking
Orbit.
I used to get up. I used to leave the house at 7 a.m. Leave the house at 7 a.m. and ride from fucking Gravesend down Ocean Parkway to fucking 33rd Street on the East Side. So, yow. I did that a couple times.
That's a lot.
A month.
Shout out to Lightspeed. Shout out to Orbit. Shout out to Engine.
Shout out to Michael Leone. Shout out to Jeff Zimmerman. Yeah, they reached out to me. They reached out to me via Facebook, by the way. But,
are you serious?
Yeah.
Dude, we have so much fun.
Check out my post. You will see Zimmerman marking shit on it.
Wow, yeah. It's been a lot of years, but yeah, that was the part where bike messengers rule the world. And they made good movies about them, and then Michael Joseph Gordon-Levitt did a movie that sucked about
the internet and email. That shit changed everything. Killed
it off.
Yeah. Well,
oversized. All I can say is oversized, unbikeable.
As Robert Wyatt once told me, the guy who created Lightspeed Messenger Service, he was the guy who
Paris Green.
He said, good group. Dude, you can't fax a chair. And I said, no, you can't.
You can't fax a chair.
Can't do it. All right, buddy. I think we're wrapping it up. Because
we can.
What?
If you ever want to do this again, I said any night after 10.
All right. So let's maybe we'll see what's happening next week.
Folks, if you're lucky enough, let me do this stinger for you. Folks, if you are lucky enough to get a chance to interact with this dude's genius, this dude next to me, his amazing talent, his wit, his insight, please support it. Share it around. I said it before on my page. I say it again. If anybody literally deserves more followers, it's Zeus. Just giving stuff off the top of his head, and it sounds like he's reading from a teleprompter.
I just want everyone to know that I accept American Express and Visa, and also you can just send me food. I'm okay with that.
Look, I have Cash App, Hubbard Media Group. We'll put it in the notes. I'll put my Cash App in. I accept money and stuff like that. I definitely accept it. And shout out and good night and goodbye and good night to Norm Macdonald, one of my favorites.
Oh, Norm Macdonald.
The fact that he destroyed OJ at every turn.
Every fucking time. That's one of the reasons why he got fired from Saturday Night Live. From the freaking update. Because the guy one of the people didn't think he was funny, right? Mostly because of the OJ stuff.
Omar. Mm-hmm. That was his friend.
Yeah.
That was his friend.
I don't think you're funny. I'm like, maybe he shouldn't kill people. Like he said for 3 years. Maybe he shouldn't kill people. Oh my God.
Now get back to the things he does best. Murdering people in cold blood. just savaging. And also the fact that if you like Seth, what's his name?
Myers.
Seth Myers patterns himself on Norm.
Yep.
So on Norm Macdonald. And also my favorite bombing comedian, and I'll let you go after this. My favorite comedians when they bomb is Norm Macdonald and what is his name? He hosted Tough Crowd. He was on Saturday Night Live for a while. White guy, I think he's an Irish guy. His name's my mind.
Oh my God! I know who you're talking about. Colin Quinn, when he eats shit, is the funniest motherfucker. He eats shit, it's funny.
Him and Norm Macdonald both were like, I don't care if you laugh. I like the joke and I'll revel in your silence, but I got this joke out anyway. And that's what made Norm. People don't understand. Norm Macdonald's bombing. His bombing is great. His bomb's great.
He just repeats the fucking punchline again. And that's one of the things he does. He's like, and it's and it's Ah, Norm, we love you. Fucking love you.
If you never cut your wife's head off, cut her head off. You find that disturbing, and just that kind of religious.
And if you find that disturbing, he's fantastic. Colin
Quinn were the best.
Yeah, him and Colin Quinn is still funny.
And bombing, he's still funny. You want him to bomb every once in a while.
Tough Crowd was one of my favorite shows when it was on Comedy Central. It was so great because Patrice O'Neal would be on, and Patrice O'Neal fucking killed every time.
Didn't care if you. Oh, another comedian did not care if you laughed. I liked it. I said it.
Yeah, his whole bit about King Kong on the Opie and Anthony show had me bleeding from my nostrils because I was crying so hard. Please find it. Find Patrice O'Neal on the Opie and Anthony show talking about King Kong, the movie. How he related
to King Kong. How he related to King Kong.
Holy fuck! Almost as funny.
I'm looking at the son. I loved all that. She'll love him. The big nose. Excuse my language. The big nose Jews, the pianist. She loves me. You know, the gorilla, and he caught a fat one. You know, I felt his pain. He really felt for Kong. Yeah, you know, like you see the bodies of all the chicks I had here before me that didn't hold my interest. Patrice, and that was off the top of it. It's not a bit that he had written. It was off the.
It was off the top of his head.
Brilliant.
In studio, fucking cranking the jokes out.
O&A.
Unstoppable hilarity. It was fucking freight train of funny.
Racist can be funny. Opie and Anthony in their racist still had said some things that were funny.
Anthony was the racist. I don't believe that
Norm Macdonald,
Anthony was a racist. Opie just laughed at the jokes. You know,
Opie basically cashed the money because it was actually Anthony was the driving force, but whatever. And some communities are a little bit prejudiced. Especially watch some of the guys on a Tough Crowd, but they cut each other down. I can be friends with someone who has stupid racial issues as long as they don't cross over to the point where they're marginalizing somebody else. I'll even revel in your stupidity.
I don't care what your politics are. Just don't say in any way, shape, or form that a person who does not believe what you believe, who does not look like you, who is from another country, who comes to this country as an immigrant, does not belong or need or can be expected to exist. That is fucking wrong, and I will put my foot up your ass every time. When on this weekend there's gonna be a big march on Washington. I'm expecting blood in the streets, mostly Nazi blood. I have no problem with that. I'm looking for people to get punched in the face. You know what I'm saying? You could every time Richard Spencer got punched in the face during the inauguration.
Yes.
Oh, these Dems are so violent. Yes, because Nazis should be punched in the face.
That's what they're there for.
You know what that's there for? To be punched in the face. You know what Captain America did to Nazis? Punched them in the face.
Punched them if he didn't shoot them or decapitate. So yeah.
Or you know what's really kind of fucked up, and it fucked up in a kind of like that's really actually what happens, is in the comics when Captain America throws a shield, you're like, yeah, go get him, Cap. In the movies, when you see the same thing, you're like, wow, that hurt.
They should all be dead.
Right.
There's no way
he cut that guy in half. Back. There's no way.
And then you see them laying there. All those.
There's no way.
Like the ER must have been traumatized. They have all these guys with major damage to their torsos, crushed lungs, organs,
busted kidneys. Just plain fucked up. This guy'll never walk again. This guy, you know, it always like one of the best lines in Dark Knight Returns. Folks, if you haven't read Dark Knight Returns, just go to the library. They have 10 copies. Just read it. It really comes off as a little fascist now, but trust me, it's worth the read. When Batman returns, old Batman returns, and he you know, basically kicked the shit out of a guy, and the cops are like there, and he does this like, don't worry, punk, you'll walk. Don't worry, that punk will walk again or whatever. While he's holding the guy, and you're like, "Oh my God!" He knew exactly how to hurt him, so he would walk again. Doesn't mean he didn't crush any vertebrae. The recovery was going to take a while.
He's going to hate not being able to walk for the next 6 months. Wait, you designed a punch as Mike Tyson. I designed punches to make people's livers bleed. That's when you know you're an architect of destruction.
You're saying it wrong.
I
designed punches to make people's livers bleed.
That is how you know. You know, I want you to piss blood. That's why I'm going to work on your
I want you to piss. If you get in the ring with me, you will piss blood. By the way, also, the greatest Mike Tyson quote of all time, which is, I'm taking Zoloft so I don't kill all of y'all.
Kill all of y'all. Opie and Anthony ran with that
press conference.
We almost died in a press conference.
In a press conference before fighting a guy that he punched knocked out in the first round. Like, beat the
I'm
fuck
on
out of him.
Zoloft, so I don't kill all of y'all.
I don't
I'm
kill all
fine.
of y'all.
Just let's understand. He's saying I was fine the way I was, but I'm doing this so I don't kill you.
Right.
It's like there's a football player who was being I can't remember his name right now. Wow, football player he was doing interviews for the Super Bowl. And he goes, "I'm only up here so I don't get fined." He kept saying it over and over again in an interview, and harking back to Tyson. I don't know why you keep asking about the antidepressant stuff I'm on. I'm on them not for me, but to keep me from killing you. That should answer the question. Why do you keep
By the way, I like that guy because that was the answer to every question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm only here so I won't get fined. So I'm only here. So
I can't remember his name. They call him Beast Mode. He was on Sept at the time, and then he came back. Beast Mode was like, I'm only out here, and like I'm only taking these drugs because I just be smoking weed and punch people in the throat, but so I don't kill y'all. So
I could be back in Bed-Stuy knocking people, being a stick-up kid with my fists, knocking people out and taking their wallets. But that's how they found Mike Tyson. That's how Mike Tyson was discovered. The cops found this kid who was knocking people out and taking their wallets with one punch. You know,
what
and
did
then
he do?
they were
He
like,
in front of he would run down the bus.
"This is wrong."
And he would punch. He punched the bus until it went to the sidewalk. Punched around to the bus. Just started punching everybody in the bus until whatever. And then Customato said, "Throw the hook, not just on the side." He got really dangerous.
Oh, Customato! Oh my God!
That was it.
It was the '80s.
Every raging black. It was the '80s. It was okay. It was the '80s. Anyway, I know you said you had to go, and it's almost we're
It's late, and I gotta watch. It's midnight. It's Ted Lasso time. Gotta watch Ted Lasso. Episode 8. Holy fuck! All right, guys.
Did it bring tears? Did the recent episode bring tears to your eyes?
Every single one.
There you go. All right, we'll talk about it later.
The Christmas episode. If you haven't seen the Christmas episode of Ted Lasso, watch it. Make sure you have something warm to drink, because after it, your throat's gonna be sore from all the crying you're gonna be having. Cries of tears of joy, of course, but yeah. All right,
dude. Don't let the title, whatever. It's great. Thank you for having me on. I'm honored, and thank you so much. I appreciate you, bro.
It's the best,
you, bro.
You're the best.
All right, you're the best.
You're the best. You're the best. All right, guys.
Send me a thumbnail.
Thumbnail of this.
I'm gonna put it up. Post it.
I'll post it. I'll probably post it tomorrow morning. I'll send you the whole one. Later.